follow us on Facebook and on YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. Also, do well to check out our website. You can listen live on our website for now. Just go to our website www.mainlandfm.com and you can listen live. You can also listen via Radio Garden regardless of what part of the world you're in. On Radio Garden, it's the same at Mainland 98.3 FM. Well, come along with us on the Morning Express as we kickstart conversations with trends in the papers. Fuad joins us via the phone now as we attempt to make sense of trending stories across our newspaper. Fuad, how are you doing today?
Good morning, Sage. How are you doing?
Why is your voice raspy, Fuad? Where are you?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Where are you, Fuad? Early in the morning. Your voice is raspy.
I think I need hot tea this morning, really. About my voice.
I told you I'm cutting back on coffee.
I don't take coffee. Just normal tea.
Well, I'm telling you that I'm cutting back. I thought we were sharing life experiences. I'm cutting back on coffee. So I haven't had in a few days, right? I don't feel good, but yeah, I needed to cut back because Facebook people have been dragging me since that I'm always overindulging, and so I'm trying to do things in moderation. But I'm fine. Thank you very much for asking, Fuad.
Even water when it's taken in excess can be a problem.
I know. I'm doing my best. At least appreciate me. 3 days without coffee is a milestone.
And I've seen dietitians who will tell you that the best liquid for the body is no other than water.
Yeah.
Any other thing apart from water is not good for the body. But several.
No, it's just taking things. And if you don't take it in moderation, that's when it becomes a problem for you. Even water, if you drink too much water, overhydration is a problem too. So.
No, I've said that already. I'm just saying that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm just reiterating what you said.
I have some question mark.
I was just sharing experience with you. I noticed that she started dragging me on air. Anyways, good morning to you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us. We do have the papers, Punch, we have the Guardian and Vanguard newspaper. Let's actually start conversations with the Punch. The Punch is quite packed today, so I'd like us to start with the Punch so we can cover at least the majority of the stories that we have reported. The Punch newspaper this morning begins conversation by giving us an update on the NLC-NCC conversation. Telecom tariff hike, NLC halts protest as federal government plans review panel. The writer to that story, Labour leader Ajero, insists committee's report will determine Congress' next step. So let me read the body of that particular story to you. So we do have here, the Nigerian Labour Congress has suspended its planned nationwide protest against the recent 50% hike in telecom tariff as approved by the federal government. The Labour Union aborted the planned rally scheduled for Tuesday, which is today, following a meeting with the government representative at the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, on Monday. So right now, after extensive discussion, the resolutions that were reached include NAC in session totally rejects the 50% telecom tariff hike, which is considered too harsh for the citizens, and so it strongly condemns the Nigeria Communication Commission's decision to approve the increase. It's insensitive, unjustifiable, and a direct attack on Nigerian workers. And so they've constituted a panel. A committee would be constituted comprising of 5 individuals from each side. That's from the NLC, from the NCC as well. 5 individuals from each side will form a committee. They would deliberate, further extensive deliberation, and then they would submit their report within 2 weeks. So the outcome of that report is what would inform whether or not they would move forward with a 50% tariff, or they would have a downward consideration for that particular amount. Fad, what do you think of the progress that's been made so far regarding this?
No progress. I don't think there's been any progress.
I wasn't even from the committee.
Committee.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want me to tell you the stories of committees in Nigeria?
I know, don't tell me.
Maybe I should remind you, when we form committees in Nigeria, you want me to start the story?
Don't tell us, we don't want to know.
Of committees in Nigeria. I'll tell you, maybe you forgot. In Nigeria, when you are not intended on solving a problem, but you want to pretend as if you really want to solve the problem, what do? You form a committee. Sage, you see, and I think you must have noticed the pattern, especially with this NLC, this Joe Ajero-led NLC. What they do is they take an issue, they shout about it, they blow hot air, oh, we are going to do this, we are not going to take it, this, blah, 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 and all of that. And then suddenly, they tell you there's going to be a protest or there's going to be an indefinite strike, and then on the last minute they sit down with government officials and they call off the strike or protest. Has that not been the pattern, say?
I mean, isn't that the technique they're supposed to adopt? Isn't that what the usual pattern
So,
should
so
be?
what does that technique achieve for them? What does it give to them at the end of the day?
Well, apparently
It was the same thing all through the negotiations for minimum wage. They started with a very bogus figure that was unrealistic. We said it was not unreasonable, but it was unrealistic. But they went on and on, exciting Nigerians unnecessarily who thought that, look, they were trying to achieve something. And at the end of the day, when they were going to get 70,000 naira, they celebrated it as if that was what they really wanted. Ab initio. So, and on this telecoms tariff, I've tried to rationalize it in my mind. The arguments of the Nigerian Labour Congress and other people that are saying that, look, this is unfair and all of that. We said it severally. You're talking about 50% hike. The last time there was a clear telecoms tariff hike was about 10 years ago.
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Now let's do it, because again we're looking at the common sense analysis of the issue here. See, it's just we're talking about the common sense analysis of the issue, not anything emotional, no sentiment here. 2013 was the last time, and look, Sid, about 70% of the operations of the telecoms guys, whether you like it or not, is in dollar terms. It's in foreign exchange. What was the dollar at that time? What is the rate of the dollar today? Say. The second part of it is that, look, energy consumption, how they provide energy, logistics, and all that for the operation. What was the cost 2013? What is the cost now? So are these guys, would they be happy if we have a shutdown of the telecom sector? And I argue again, in the last 1 year, what has happened to the price of petroleum products, for example? What has happened to taxes? What has happened to import duty in this country? And all of those things have gone up by almost 200, 300%. And here you are, the labor who had the opportunity to fight those things, stayed back, played around it, deceived a lot of Nigerians as if they were really going to, hold the government to account on some of those things, only for them to wake up now and they have suddenly developed the strength to fight the telecoms guys who have jacked it up only by 50%. Yes, it hurts me, it hurts most Nigerians to see that again, would have to pay more for telecom services. But look, let's apply some common sense here and I'll say, what are you guys expecting from these guys? Like I said, every other sector, every other service provider has jacked up their cost of, has jacked up their prices. And everybody has been saying that, look, the reason why they have done that is because of cost of operations, logistics, and what have you. Even farmers have done the same thing. Goods and services have had prices gone up by almost 100 or if not more than that. And we expect the telecoms guys to be immune to the realities from our economy, to the realities of what government policies have caused. So I wasn't expecting anything, and I'm not surprised that this noise about going on the protest has been cancelled in the last minute. These guys are not really serious. And so now we have gotten back again. We have gone back to committee. We talk about committees. And I've told you, anytime there's an argument, anytime there's a disagreement, anytime there's a policy conversation, and what we are talking about is that a committee has been formed. Just know that, look, we are not intentional about solving that problem. We're achieving anything meaningful about it. So we're now back to committee, a committee to sit down and review. Review what precisely? So I thank God that I did not take the labor leaders serious in the first place. And I'm not disappointed that they've done this. I was expecting that this was going to happen. Because these are guys who have shown repeatedly that they are not really committed to holding the government to account on any serious matter. Even their own matter, they have not been able to resolve. How much for a matter that is of general interest like this ones of telecom tariff? So I'm not surprised and I'm not disappointed. I knew this was going to happen. Again, like I've always told Nigerians, this is a new reality. Always find a way to take care of yourself. Nobody is coming to save you. Find a way to help yourself.
Well, Fuad, a rally wouldn't have achieved much either. I'm talking a protest. It wouldn't have done much.
And so why did they say they were going to go on the protest? Because when they did not achieve anything.
Well, can we consider that was probably to induce a dialogue, considering the fact that, remember, the NCC had totally ignored them earlier. They had said the NCC said nothing to them when they submitted letters. So the threat for a protest, can we consider that was to induce them to actually open up for a dialogue? And that's what they've gotten.
A dialogue with who?
The NCC.
With the committee.
Yeah.
Okay, to do what precisely?
Consider
even the government has
dialogue
taken a
review.
position.
Yeah.
No, see, even the government has taken a position on this issue already.
Yes.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy have said that, look, because of rising inflation, cost of production, energy cost, and all of that, that he thinks that, look, the 50% is a fair deal, considering what has gone up, astronomically in the last 1 year. Everything has gone up. What did the labor guys do about those things? And those are the economic indices that the telecom guys are talking about. And look, what do you expect us to do? Like they said yesterday in the papers, you can't expect to use the telecoms operators to subsidize the cost of other things in the country. They are also part of the economy, an integral part of the economy, whether we like it or not. Because if you are looking at some of the essentials of life, they say food, clothes, and shelter. Whether you like it or not, communication has also become very essential for people. It can't be 3 again, it has to be 4. Because just imagine that look, ordinary, remember now, social media platforms, the last time that WhatsApp was out, it was as if there was ordinary WhatsApp. Instead of having all our telecom guys shut down the operation.
Right.
So it has become very important and integral part of our lives, and we have to talk about how we can sustain and ensure that they don't go down.
All right. Well, that's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let's have a conversation forward about our power sector once again. 200 billion naira monthly electricity subsidy benefits reach Nigerians, says Tinubu's aide. Now, the federal government has said it spends 200 billion naira to subsidize electricity monthly. According to the government, this amount benefits the wealthiest 25% of Nigerians rather than those who truly need the assistance. The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on energy, Vᴜᴜ, stated this in a statement on Monday. Vᴜᴜ is reacting to report quoting her as stating that the electricity tariff would soon be jerked up by 2/3 in order to strengthen the power sector. Now reacting, the special advisor did not deny the looming tariff hike. She, however, maintained that she did not say the tariff will be raised by 65%. She says, and I quote, "It has become necessary to clarify media reports suggesting an imminent 65% increase in electricity tariff. This is a misinterpretation of what I actually said in a recent press interview. I highlighted the fact that following the increase in Band A tariff in 2024, current tariffs now cover approximately 65% of the actual cost of supplying electricity, with the federal government continuing to subsidize the difference," she said. And she noted that while the government is indeed committed to ensuring fair pricing on the long term, the immediate focus is on taking decisive action to deliver more electricity to Nigerians, ensure fewer outages, and guarantee the operation or the protection rather of the poorest and the most vulnerable Nigerians. So, Fuad, she has not denied, I'm talking about Mrs. she has not denied that electricity tariff will go up. I think this is even something of a confirmation that the tariff will go up. However, contrary to reports that the increase will be 65%, she's clarified. What she said was that currently the amount of money that we're paying for power only covers 65% of the supply. So the rest is covered by the federal government, which is why we need to increase the electricity tariff, because the federal government cannot afford to pay subsidy anymore. And in fact, in a related story on the Guardian newspaper, electricity subsidy will hit 2.4 trillion naira this year, a cost that the government is saying they can no longer bear. So Fuad, I mean, this is as much clarity as we would get. The tariff will go up, but it might not be as high as 65%. And they're saying for a provision of meters, there's a federal government initiative that would see thousands of Nigerians get meters so that they can be removed from the estimated billing system.
Westage, a similar story, something we are used to. The same excuses, the same explanation is coming up again. The same drama is going to happen. And this is the same thing that this government has continually pushed out to the people when it comes to things like this. Now, electricity subsidy is only benefiting the rich. The same lie they told to Nigerians about subsidy on petroleum products. Oh, it's only for the benefit of the rich. We need to take it out. It is only the rich that is benefiting from it. Say, who is suffering it now when the subsidy is out? Is it the rich? Simple question now. They told us that, look, subsidy is only benefiting the rich in the society. Let's take it out so that when we harness this money, we can now use the money to do things that benefit the lives of the poor. this subsidy that has been taken out now and the money that have been made available to government, who is benefiting from it and who is suffering from the whole thing? Is it the rich or the poor?
All of us, actually.
Who is suffering? The rich is suffering.
But everybody across, I mean, we have big businesses.
The rich people are suffering. See,
maybe not suffering. No, maybe not suffering, but there has been an impact.
Okay, maybe the rich, like the one that the president talked about, that had 5 Rolls Royce.
And
that's the Honda.
He's maybe not suffering, but there's obviously
been
an impact.
Okay, what are they doing? I talked about suffering. You are the one that is now defining it.
Okay, fine.
I'm talking about suffering.
The average
because if you don't know, Nigerians are suffering.
The average Nigerians are suffering.
And last me, I'm talking about suffering now.
Okay.
Maybe the suffering you are talking about is that of the man that has 5 Rolls Royce. No. And now there's a Honda.
No.
Is that the one you are talking about?
No, I'm just saying everyone across board has been impacted. The severity is what varies.
You know me, I don't understand.
Fine. Let's just go back to talking about
I said suffering.
Okay.
So, but what I'm saying is that this is the same thing they keep telling us when they want to do these things. Oh, subsidy is no longer sustainable. Oh, and they are also very smart about it. I look at the woman that keeps saying this, I just look at her and shake my head. They come all over from countries where, their governments are heavily involved in subsidizing things for the most vulnerable in the society. They look at food, they look at even power consumption, public transportation system, and ensure that it is heavily subsidized to make life meaningful for the poor and vulnerable in their society. These guys have been trained in those societies. They come here and begin to say something completely different. And they will also tell you that, if you look at the story very well, at some point she said, when we take out the subsidy completely to allow for a cost-effective tariff, what we'll now do is to drop import duty on things that are supposed to provide alternative source of power, maybe like solar, electric. I say it's a lie. The same thing they told us, with removing subsidy on petroleum products. And I keep saying it, like we discussed around this, we had this conversation severally on removing subsidy on petroleum products. Subsidy is not the problem. It can never be the problem. It is the way we manage subsidy in Nigeria that has become problematic. The corruption in the subsidy regime. Up till today, even this 200 billion naira per month they are talking about on electricity subsidy, we've asked a very simple question. Can they come and explain how we have gotten to 200 billion monthly in the entire power sector value chain? Who is doing the calculation? What exactly? What part of the power sector value chain are they subsidizing that has taken us to 200 billion naira every month, say, to 2.4 trillion every year? What part of the power sector value chain? And then you talk about cost-effective tariff. Look, I told you yesterday, whenever you hear officials of government mute idea of raising the price of something, it's already been concluded. Just be prepared. So with the way we are shouting about the tariff on band A, the excruciating pain that comes with paying for this band A, the government is also telling you that, look, be prepared. Though, the percentage you may not know. Like she has said, she's not saying this is going to be the extent of the increase, but it's going to happen. She has told you that, look, this thing will happen. And what is the justification? You can no longer subsidize the power sector. Okay, so if it goes up again, how does that align with the intention of the government, for example, to drop inflation from 24.8% to 15%? The labor guys that are supposed to pay attention to what this woman is saying, they are not doing that. They are fighting the telecom guys. In their eyes, they will open it, and again the tariff for electricity will go up again. And look, whether you like it or not, everything that concerns pricing is tied to these two sectors, the petroleum sector and the power sector. And so we are now told again to brace up again. We can no longer pay for this subsidy. And let me tell you how it's done in other parts of the world, because they say, you guys just criticize, don't give solutions. Look, what other societies do to create a balance is to ensure that, look, there's a tax system that takes money away from the rich they are talking about, to subsidize things for the poor. Oh, look, when you talk about, let them use whatever they want to use, but make sure that you are taxing them on those things that you think they are benefiting from the subsidy on electricity. When you take the money away from them, you put it into benefiting the poor. What kind of tax system do we have in Nigeria, say? The tax system that is even so comfortable for the rich, a lot of them are exempted, they don't even pay anything really. If You look at what they use and what they give back to the government. So I think we're in that era. You know, from day one, what has been my talk about these governments and their drive for aggressive revenue? It is that, look, Nigeria should go and take care of themselves. Go and take care of yourself. The money shows the day. From day one, I've seen the pattern. It's a government that's going to go on an aggressive revenue drive. They are going to come out to tell you that, look, they cannot continue to subsidize. They need this money. It's unfortunate that, look, as the government is now making all the money and keeping the money to itself, what has happened to the money? From the federal to the subnationals, we are now seeing stealing galore, wasteful spending, misappropriation of funds. So at the end of the day, where is the argument that, look, we are going to make more money available to government, deploy to better the lives of the people? Since this aggressive revenue started over a year ago, what has been achieved so far? Let the government come out and tell us that, look, all the money that have been made available to us, this is what we have been able to do with it. It is still the same cry of suffering. Didn't you see the review of the budget and the things that have been put in the budget?
Right.
Does it show that, look, what the government is telling us, they actually committed to it? So again, for Nigerians, go and take care of yourself. These things are coming. And don't wait for anybody to come and protect you. Nobody is going to protect you. Just understand that we are in an era where it's take it or leave it, and we have to live with it.
It's still Mainland 98.3 FM, trends in the papers. We're live on Facebook at Mainland 98.3 FM. I'm Sage Babalola, here discussing with Fuad. We're reviewing the Punch newspaper. The most recent story here, the possibility of a tariff hike, electricity tariff hike. We do not know to what extent the increase would be, but there most certainly, according to the reports here, will be an increase in electricity tariff. And this is as a result of the removal of subsidy, or the possibility of a removal of subsidy on electricity. And they're saying that, well, the federal government metering initiative would cover those who are on estimated billing and at least allow for a cost reflective tariff on power. Although Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, that's HURIWA, they've strongly condemned the federal government's proposal to increase the electricity tariff. They're saying that this policy can lead to widespread public unrest. In fact, they described it, and I quote, as toxic, unconstitutional, and a direct assault on the economic survival of Nigerian citizens.
No, they've told you that it's benefiting the rich.
Urua definitely disagrees with that. That particular story you would find on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. Now we're moving on to other stories. We do have here police grill Ogun power drunk monarch suspended for 6 months. Now the Ogun State Police Command on Monday invited and interrogated the Olorile of Orile-Ifo. Olorile. Okay, I'm sorry. The Olorile of Orile-Ifo. Oba Abdul cut me some slack. Okay, Abdusemiu Ogunjobi for assaulting a 73-year-old chief, Ariola Abraham. Now, this is just as the state government slammed a 6-month suspension on the monarch. Ogunjobi had sparked outrage after a viral video surfaced showing him verbally and physically assaulting Ariola. In the 2-minute clip, Ariola was seen kneeling on the road while a man said to be Ogunjobi cursed him and his family, accusing him of conspiracy. The monarch, reportedly a retired police officer, also boasted of his influence over law enforcement agency, threatening to jail the chief. At one point, a man accompanying the traditional ruler slapped Ariola and ordered him to prostrate before the king. But you and I even had a conversation this morning that video, the audio was so crude that we could not play it on radio. That's how terrible that entire interaction was. The cursing, the physical assault, and this man is 73 years old. And this sort of, in a way, speaks to our respect for traditional institution and the fear of abuse of power. Because we're at a time where we're asking for some form of autonomy, not just for local government, but also traditional rulers, and how we can sever the tie that they have with the executive, such that they are able to actually make decisions without, shivering in the presence of the executive. Now, if a monarch is capable of assault on a citizen to this extent, what does this say about the call to grant them some form of autonomy where we, disconnect them from the apron string of the executive? The abuse of power that is expected. What are your thoughts?
Sage, on the local government autonomy, one of the first things we said was that we also have to look at the process by which local government chairmen are elected into those offices. So it's not just talking about autonomy. We have to look at the process that produces the best of us in the society to also occupy those positions. So as much as people are saying that, oh, let's give our traditional rulers more roles in the society, make it even constitutional so that they become more relevant. Because as it is today, what they are supposed to be are just the custodians of our culture and tradition. That's all that you can ascribe to them. But there are people who think that, look, they can perform more roles, in fact, more functional roles in the development of the nation than just being the custodian of our culture and tradition. But do you know what, Sage? Who are the kinds of people we really choose into this traditional position? When we choose land grabbers, you know what they call land grabbers? When we choose, yes, down, non-land grabbers who have been disturbing the society, fight for over land, kill people, maim people, destroy things. When we choose pouch, layabouts, thugs, criminals, non-criminals in the society, and because of political manipulations and political whatever we do, what do you expect? See, the way some of these traditional rulers carry themselves, not all, we have a lot of them well behaved, with finesse, beautiful, carry themselves very well, have the charisma, but a lot of some of these, it's only the younger ones among them. The things we see has always called to question whether we need to even know whether they are even relevant again. There are people who are even saying we should even scrap that entire thing. Because even the politicians don't even respect them, don't see them as anything. See the way they talk to them. Remember when Wike was telling one in River State, see this one nodding his head like a gamma lizard. Remember?
Yeah, that look at his cap.
Like on Madame Fodi. So even the politicians don't respect them. They don't see them as anything. They toss them around. And look at what this so-called Olorili or what it was so terrible. Look, I could not even finish watching the video. See, so I just had to take it off. What? They are and I'm hoping that ballet will show him. And the police also have to do the needful. This is clear case of assault, harassment, threat to life. At some point, he was even saying that he owns the entire police.
Yes.
And he can kill the guy without anybody knowing.
Nobody will do anything to him, yes.
Just imagine. I know the police have responded. I think they said they invited him for questioning. But we'll wait to see him in court. They have to take him to court. He has to be prosecuted. Because that was a clear case of harassment, assault, and threat to life. So it is not just about the 6-month suspension that the Ogun State government has given to him. That man must be presented in court for proper prosecution so that it becomes a deterrent for others. The traditional ruler, I can imagine how unlucky that society is, that community, to have had that kind of person as their traditional ruler. God knows what he would have been doing in that community. And it will be nice for people in the community to come out and speak against him if he has been doing things like that before. Because he said it that, look, he will bury the guy alive and nobody will know. You see, Olorili, I see. And when I saw the mass speech, I said, but look at him. What else do you expect?
Fuad, I need us to have a conversation about the brazenness with which people actually undermine the police. A few months ago, what's the name of this lawmaker who also threatened an Uber driver and says, I would make you disappear and nothing is going to happen, indicating that even the police have no control.
And what eventually happened to him?
Well, he has resumed his duties. For sure, he was asked to. It was an out of.
And the man that they harassed, what did he do?
He came out with a video. But then outside that, we've also seen another video of a powerful person or a person who is within the power structure saying that even the police would not be able to do anything for me. This pattern for us is somewhat scary, where we have people that are supposed to be the number one, respecter of the law, boasting that even the law has nothing on them.
When you build strong men, strong individuals, and weaken your institutions, what do you expect? That's the society we are building now. We keep empowering individuals, political empowerment, financial empowerment. You understand? We keep giving them the power. We build strong men, and then in doing that, we continue to weaken our institutions. They can't hold anybody to account. Look at what happened to Donald Trump as an elected president, even before he was sworn in. The judiciary will still insist that he has to be convicted. And as we do that, we bastardize our institutions, we weaken it, and we think we're going to have a society that functions with that. It's good to live in denial, to glorify it. We not that look, if anybody does anything, and until today, the unrest in the state is as a result of his own personality. He has taken a lead from the people high up there. When they do it, I can also do it. That's the kind of society, and I can do anything and go the way we live. That is the society we run. Well, enrich them, empower them illegally, and weaken our institutions. That is what we continue to get, unfortunately.
Very sad. Those ones are always just, I cannot use the do something like that.
I don't know why they are suspending him for 6 months. That man deserves to be removed completely. He doesn't even deserve that too. God knows how he even got there in the first place.
I mean, you can. He was accused of conspiracy. Apparently, that's why he.
You know you know what it means to degrade someone to that extent, and look at the extent of cost. On what? You know the king about which lay about people that are
very sad, very, very, very sad indeed. And they make videos, they take records of their wrongdoing. Fortunate that story is on page.
Thank God I even dragged the police into it. I own the police. Nothing.
Okay. Let's just hope this doesn't end in a public apology and compensation and everybody just returns. It's very, very terrible. It's very, very terrible. We can't play the audio, but it is bad. All right. Whatever you can imagine is worse. They would use power. The Punch is also reporting LG Autonomy, NULG, Central Bank of Nigeria against aiding state governors in undermining the financial compliance with auditing requirement. Speaking with the Punch on Sunday, the NULGE National President Hakeem Ambali dismissed claims that local government had, according to Ambali, the local government had received their allocations directly following the landmark clause in the will of local government autonomy. So apparently the local government are not able to open their account with the CBN up until now because the CBN is telling them that they have to fulfill obligations of audits. They need to provide their statement for at least 2 years. Now the president is saying that we have up to even 3 years. So what exactly? This is more or less just an excuse to stall the process. That is what they believe, and they're telling the CBN that it's looking like you are, working hand in hand with this.
You see, I keep talking about commitment to doing the right thing, being very intentional. You understand? This is almost 6 months to 7 months down the line that the Supreme Court judgment was given, right?
Yeah.
Say, if I get my calculations right, about 6 months, yes, that the Supreme Court gave that judgment.
In July.
And
July
what we are dealing with. Sorry?
July last year.
So, yes, 6 to 7 months that judgment was given. And what we are dealing with here is just what? Open account and pay them directly. See the battle. What does it take, say, to open an account and ensure that these local governments get their money directly? Look at the back and forth. Now the CBN is saying they should go and bring their audited report. For 2 years. How does receiving money directly, link up with you bringing an audited account? Can't you just pay the money first and begin to demand for the audited account? Why delay? Why stall the process? And that's why the Norgate guys are accusing the CBN too, that okay, it's like you guys don't want this thing to happen. Delay tactics. Let's continue to drag on it. By the time we drag for 1 year, 2 years, probably we will forget about it. Say it is impossible to achieve. Can you now see that there's a question around our commitment to doing some of these things? Even the Minister of Finance is almost getting tired. The last time as he said, there are some issues that they are trying to resolve. It has not been resolved. Now there's another issue. The CBN wants audited report for 2 years before they can open an account for them to transfer the money directly to them. What exactly are we talking about here? So suddenly the CBN knows that they needed to have an audited account of the local government. So, and what it means is so long as we continue to drag on this issue, we are basically making it impossible to implement the judgment of the court, the highest court in the land. Remember that we are talking about the Supreme Court judgment. So long we continue to drag on it, we daily continue to violate and ensure that the ruling of the highest court in the land is not implemented. So when are we going to resolve this issue? Even though some of us are not even excited, that monies are going to go directly to the local government, because again, who are the kind of people we have in the local government in the first? What kind of electoral process have produced people into the local government? A lot of these guys are still friends, cronies, and political, stooges of the governors. But at least let us even get somewhere with this conversation. Let the monies first go directly to them, and then we can start the conversation around transparency and accountability. But that one we cannot even do. because there are people who are hell bent on ensuring that that thing does not happen.
Well, that is that particular story. I thought to bring it up. Is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. There's also one story here I'd like us to review before we move over to the Guardian newspaper. We also have here Seyi Makinde demands diligence as Oyo gears up for Alaafin's coronation. Now, the Oyo State government on Monday has inaugurated a committee for the coronation of Oba Akim Owoade as the new Alaafin of Oyo. This is according to a statement issued on Monday from the Office of the Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Dotun Oyelade, who said Governor Seyi Makinde expects everyone involved in the coronation to be diligent and show maximum support for the success of the event. Well, Fuad, it would seem like despite all the controversy of, Kingmaker saying we didn't submit his name to the governor.
The governor will have a final say.
Well, the governor did have a final say. You took the words right out of my mouth. The coronation is set to take place as soon enough.
Is the Alaafin designated? Is he back?
Well,
he traveled. Went back to Canada. Is he back into the country?
I mean, if they are making plans for his coronation, then he's obviously around. The
they
coronation committee.
In absentia now.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, if they're setting up a committee for his coronation and making plans, so obviously
I hope we're not going to see strange things on this one. Because somebody will now take the crown to Canada.
Or they should do it on Zoom. It's technology, Fuad. There's technology.
Hey, really?
Yeah, there's technology.
Hey, they coronate via Zoom or Skype.
You don't know that. I mean,
really?
I would like to believe that.
So what of all the traditional rites too? They will carry it via Zoom.
Fuad, don't worry about that.
You went at the lady. You know what they call a lady?
What's a lady?
Via Zoom to or Skype.
Fuad, what's a lady?
Oh, really? You don't know?
Tell me now.
Okay, don't worry. It's not something. But they are traditional rites, all the old thing they would do, the sacrifice, all manner of things would have to happen. That can be done via Zoom or Skype.
But you need to move with the trend, okay? We've made progress as a...
So you find out no technology.
Yeah, you need to move with the trend now, Fuad, please.
No, that I know. But for the Alaafin, it can't happen. I know it will happen.
I believe he'll be back, actually. I believe he'll be back for his coronation, most certainly. The report actually said he left to resign and finish up all the commitments he had, outside the country. He
can't
yes.
That's why we nice to know that he's back in the country. That's just
well, the report does not specifically say that, he's back. But like I said, if the committee is now being instituted, it will mean that he's around and the rights and everything are about to begin. Finally, Fuad, we have here Bola Ige murder. Ladoja demands Akonde's apology, threatening legal action. We have a 1 minute soundbite here, Fuad. Should we take that soundbite? So we're not.
Why not? If you have time,
let's take that soundbite so we can actually understand the context of all of this, the demand for the apology and everything. Just stick around, listen to this.
Honestly, I don't know.
You were the governor.
I wasn't in Ife at that time. I wasn't even in the country. But Bolaige told me the story. A year before then, when Bolaige was 70 years old, I advised him to stop going to socials. That between 70 and a few years, he should be able to write his memoir. And that was very important to me. So anytime he goes to any function, and I pick my phone to query him, he say, BC, please forgive me, he's so person, I have to be there, And we joke about him. But I always say, Uncle, the way you go, you won't write this thing. He will say, okay, I will, And that was one of the reasons he was resigning from that government. But when he told me about what happened in Ife, I was very sad. And I said, I told you not to be going to such socials. It was happening in my state. I didn't go there. I wasn't in the country that day, but many things happened before that day. I didn't attend. I was the governor and I wouldn't go. I didn't want Bola to.
I don't think this is the right one. I'll search for it and then we can probably play it. I think the wrong one was uploaded.
Also interesting.
Yes, but there was the part where he was asked, if he knew what had happened with the murder of Bolaige, and he had mentioned by name, he says Ladoja would be able to provide more information about the death of Bolaige. Now, The former governor of Oyo State and the Otolubado of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, has on Monday now demanded a public apology from former Osun State Governor Chief Bisi Akande over a narrative on the murder of the ex-Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Bola Ige. He addressed journalists in his residence and said Akande must withdraw his claim and apologize or be ready to face legal action. Fuad, would you comment on that briefly?
Well, we continue to have this back and forth. So far, we are not able to resolve that murder, the murder of former Minister of Power and former Attorney General of the Federation, who was in the opposition but was called to serve in the government of unity under Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. And what Chief Bisi Akande was saying, where he talked about him telling the late Bola Ige not to go for social events, that look, he told him what happened in Ife. A lot of us may not have remembered how Chief Bola Ige went to Ife. I think it was supposed to be a political gathering, a social gathering, and he was harassed. In fact, they said they removed his cap. And at that time, it was alleged that he was, one of the chieftains of the PDP now. I think he's in the APC now. Mkszōɪᴜ, who eventually became a senator and all of that. I think he was arrested. He was eventually released. So a lot of stories, really, about the circumstances surrounding the death of the late Bola Ige. Appointed Minister of Power, he couldn't do a lot because of the bureaucracy and how the whole thing was untidy. Eventually, was made the Attorney General of the Federation, and on the day was murdered in his house, in his private residence in Ibadan. They said all the security for policemen guarding him. All of them went to eat at the same time. See, all of them went to eat at the same time. And since that time, even though the government of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo had promised that look, they were going to fish out his killers, nothing happened. And do you know what? It's not just about Bola Ige. And that was why I remember that when we were starting our own activism as a young student activist, we used to jokingly tell ourselves, thou shalt not be killed. See, amongst ourselves, so as student union activists of those days, very active with NANS and all of that. Whenever we go for all of those rallies, we come back and tell ourselves, thou shalt not be killed. Because in Nigeria, once you are killed, in that manner, that's the end of. And I can give you a long list of unresolved murder cases of politically exposed persons in Nigeria that until today, nothing has happened. Nobody has been prosecuted. Nobody has been sent to jail. A long list. Before Dino, the man, the Omoluabi of Lagos State, Fᴜᴜ Williams, before Dino of Ogun State, ⴑⴑ Kudirat Abiola, a lot of them. Forget list, long list of people. So, and once that happens, you see the government coming. I remember when before Dino in Ogun State happened. Oh, we are going to make sure that we did that. That's it. Fᴜᴜ Williams in Lagos. Oh, we are going to do this. Nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So, it's unfortunate because this back and forth will not resolve anything. The man is dead. He's been murdered. Nothing has been resolved yet. Whether Olúbàdàn Oba Ladoja has any information or not, it doesn't solve anything again. And probably, because even Chief Akande was saying there are some things he cannot even say again. I'm sure he also has some information that he wants to divulge. I don't know why he says Ladoja has information. But at the end of the day, the man that has been murdered has been murdered. And he can't be brought back to life.
All right. Well, that's that about that particular report. Not to worry, for Mainland Focus would actually get you the right soundbite so you can actually hear where he said, Lamidi is the one that would have more information. You could even see the interviewer telling him, do you want to tell us something? Please tell us. Said there are some things I will not be able to tell you. And the interviewer prompted him, but then he insists that, well, he might not be able to say a number.
But Lamidi has information.
Yes, that you can ask, Lamidi, he might be able to provide more details about that. And in fact, he goes on for.
Well, he said it was Lamidi, it was Ladoja that withdrew the case from court.
Well,
that the case was in court, but he didn't know why Ladoja was the one that withdrew the case, and he must have one or two things to say on why he decided to withdraw the case from court.
Yeah. Well, that's it about that story. I'll find you the right soundbite plays when we come back for Mainland Focus. For Guardian, let me read the rest of the headlines that we have here. Unfortunately, we've run out of time because there's another report that I wanted us to talk about, something that was said by the president. He said, you have no power to order my impeachment. Tinubu tells court. He told the Federal High Court in Abuja to dismiss a suit that is seeking to compel the National Assembly to initiate impeachment proceedings against him over alleged rights violation. And there's been a response that there's no power to institute his impeachment. That's the response of the presidency to the court. So we'll talk about that when we come back. It's still trends in the papers, or well, it's still the Morning Express. Trends in the papers is over. At 8:40, we'll be back for Mainland Focus. Stick around, enjoy the rest of the conversations coming your way.
Follow us on all our social media platforms.